In a world of seemingly endless podcasts comes what many would call another one. Welcome to the Two Men podcast with your hosts Tim Matson and Phil Powell. Now please join these two confirmed men, that's two moderately entertaining nerds, as they take you on another podcast adventure that's guaranteed to be funny. Or not. This week the two men ask, why theater?
Welcome to another podcast with your buddies Tim
and Phil.
It's good to be here with you on a lonely Friday.
On a lonely Friday. Yes.
Well, today's topic, we're going to be talking about a little bit about us, our past. Theater, specifically.
Yeah. Theater.
Yeah, because we're both a couple of actors, right?
Yeah.
It's been said.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, why theater?
Why theater? Why would somebody go?
Why would anybody?
Why would
more specifically, why did you?
Why did you? I didn't know that I was going to act. My first theatrical experience was portraying Columbus in my second grade. I don't know. I think it was a play. I had lines, and I can remember being chosen as Columbus to play, Columbus,
Nice.
of course.
That's a big role.
It was the role. And the teacher chose, and I can remember thinking that it felt right that I should play Columbus. It just, there was King Ferdinand or Queen Ferdinand. I was one of them.
King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
And there were minor parts. I think if you were an Indian... No, he didn't do Indian. I don't know. That was the Pilgrims. That was another play.
That's an entirely different play.
So I was Columbus, and I practiced my bow and my pleading before King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella.
Begging for money.
Yeah.
Not much has changed.
And as I recall, to all of the other 7-year-olds, I was pretty stunning. I think there was applause at the end, as I recall.
Might be applause because it ended.
It was pretty short. I think, and we weren't having to study, so.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. See, now, mine started earlier. I actually ended up as one of the 3 wise men when I was in kindergarten.
Oh. Were you Balthazar?
I could be Jack, for all I know. I don't know.
Didn't the wise men have names?
Did they?
Not in the
Maybe
Bible,
I fell asleep during Sunday school and missed that part.
So did you point at some star?
No, I just had to carry in this spray-painted gold box.
Did you have myrrh or frankincense?
No, I had gold. Yeah, I brought gold.
Oh, so you were important. The frankincense and myrrh, that was less important.
Yeah, well, no one knows what myrrh is anyway.
I know what myrrh is.
What is myrrh?
Myrrh is, this is all Bible stuff. This is all, myrrh is an embalming fluid, which is as many
something you really want for a newborn baby.
Exactly. Yeah, it was one of those foreshadowing things about the whole death.
Oh, okay.
It's
nice.
Like, see, they brought him myrrh. Yeah, like that. Anyway, so the wise men, did you get infected by people giving you praise for simply walking around stage with a box?
I did get praise for carrying the box well and stopping where I needed to stop, as I remember. I do remember some of the other kids just kept wandering because we were in kindergarten. We didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very on point, even in my early days.
Did you ever tell your parents that you wanted to be an actor?
Yeah, they picked up on it pretty quickly. I was an imaginative kid.
Well, but I mean, did you ever say, I want to be an actor?
Yeah, I did. Whenever I changed my major in undergrad.
Well, wait a minute, you weren't a kid at this point.
No. Well, technically.
So you said you wanted to be an actor in college. That's totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't I was saying it's like a 10-year-old. Did you ever tell your parents?
I mean, when I was in high school, yes. When I love acting. I'd like to do this.
They roll their eyes at any point?
Yeah, I became a computer science major.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right.
It didn't take.
Oh, it didn't take? You didn't do theater in college?
No. Computer science didn't take.
Oh, I see. So you started computer science.
I did, actually. I did a year of computer science, and it turned out to be totally wasted.
Do you know any BASIC?
Yeah. I knew BASIC. The problem is we were using COBOL in college.
Oh, my God. And you are so old.
Oh, shut up. I feel it. It was COBOL. It was awful. It was like the worst experience ever.
The fact that you would even say the words
COBOL and not be talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
You might as well say something that
We were writing on rocks.
That's right.
Hey, at least we weren't using punch cards.
Oh yeah, that's
That was
true.
before my time. That was back in the Stone Age.
You could shame those people.
It's true, but yeah, I guarantee you nobody programming today uses COBOL for anything.
Although today, if you told some people that you programmed in COBOL, that might be kind of cool.
I might get some nerd cred for that.
That's right. You might get some sexy ladies. Not really.
Find that highly questionable.
All right, so acting. Did you do high school stuff?
Yeah, I did. South Pacific was the first show I was in high school.
Topless?
I did not have to do the coconut scene where the guys dressed as the women. No, I was the commanding officer of the base. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm. You were blustery?
I was, yeah. Yeah, I got to come on and yell at everybody and leave.
That's
some of my favorite things to do now.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I acted in high school was I had no interest in acting really, other than just being silly. I did a play in high school. It was called Prime Time Crime. It was a ripoff of Beretta and Kung Fu and Charlie's Angels. If they all came together and
so it's like a murder by death, only for high school students.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the funny thing. Forget about my acting. I played Kung Fu and I took it too seriously. I was a big-time martial arts expert.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, not really. The biggest thing that I can remember about that in our high school, which didn't have any drama program, this was the first play, to the best of my knowledge, they had ever done, Metro East Lutheran High School. And so our gym teacher directed us. Oh. No, he didn't direct us. His sister, who had done some theater at one point in her life, directed us. And I can remember he didn't see the show. I mean, he hadn't seen the show. He came to the night before we opened. He hated it so much that he made her cry. I can remember them having a heated conversation in the corner and her crying.
Oh my God.
And I will admit that we were a little weak. It all turned out okay.
That's awesome.
So you did theater. You changed to a theater major in college.
I did, yeah. I actually switched from computer science to English and then from English to theater. So it was a slow decline.
My theater really, seriously, in any meaningful way, started in college, and I saw that there were auditions for this play, Servant of Two Masters. I knew some of the people who had gotten cast or in previous shows. I had no experience, really. I mean, other than Primetime Crime, which was pretty great.
Yeah.
But I can remember thinking to myself, I could do better than them. I mean,
these guys are terrible.
These guys. So I went in and auditioned, and I did okay. And my drama teacher was great, Mr. Albright. Really talented guy. I don't know where he is today. But I made all kinds of horrible mistakes. Like, I wrote my own audition. Things like that.
That takes some guts.
Or being naive, really. And yeah, I think I did a speech. This is at a Christian college. I did a speech from Caligula. And as my second monologue, I did a speech. I did a speech from something that I had made up about a vampire being a night manager at a 7-Eleven. It's like original material.
At a Christian school.
Yeah, at a Christian school.
How did the Caligula monologue go down?
You know what? Actually, I think it went really well.
Did they know the source material at all?
Yeah, I told them. I can't remember if that was before or after the adult Malcolm McDowell version came out with. Yeah, I can't remember. But no, what's sad about that is I got cast in Tartuffe, and he actually accidentally gave us our audition notes that he had taken during our audition. For
that
us.
Can be
and this
terrible.
Was where I knew it was bad because he suddenly clambered around the room and started grabbing pieces of paper away because he'd accidentally passed them out, because these were notes that were meant for his eyes only.
Right.
And I can remember reading briefly something to the equivalent of weak start, gets better, turned back on audience, shows inexperience, something to, second monologue horrible. It was basically something
possible
along
sexual deviant.
But here's the thing: is he cast me as the lead in his show? So if I was the best choice,
I would love to see some of those other notes.
Yes.
That's what I want. I want to see those other notes.
But that's kind of where I started. And I got to say, in all likelihood, I was adequate in my first college role, but I certainly wasn't good. Lord knows. I
Surely
mean,
not.
even in my fantasies, I wasn't. And that's at a point in time where you're really confident in your abilities in general. At least I was. But has much changed?
I was going to say, you remain adequate to this day.
Yeah. Well, hey, no, I was going confident in my abilities. Yeah.
Confident. Right. Yeah. You remain confident to this day. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, but it was the beginning of learning, and I did get better.
Okay, well, you haven't really answered the question. What I want to know is,
why am I doing it?
Why theater? Why are you doing it? Why did you decide to do it? I mean, everybody, plays pretend when they're kids. Some of us do school plays, some of us do this and that, but not everybody continues on and butts their head up against this profession the way we kind of have.
I'll give you the really quick, boring answer, which is I think it's an interesting thing to do, and I think it challenges you presentationally. So I think that's why I liked it, and you like the feedback that you get. You like applause. You like that crap. So that's why you do it. But I think the truth is I got to hang out with my friends and I got to make new friends. And in college anyway, it elevated my social status from nothing to marginally nothing. So also for me, especially I went to a Christian college, doing theater was as close to officially being evil without... and still be sanctioned by the school.
So what's the most transgressive show that you did in high school?
In high school?
Or in the Christian college, yeah.
You see, we couldn't do anything. You couldn't do anything that had... They did You Can't Take It With You, and they had to rewrite it. I wasn't in the show. There's somebody who's an alcoholic in that show. This is like a big part of the show. And, you can't have that. You can't have somebody who's... So they changed it into, which is really kind of progressive for its time. They changed it into a foodaholic. And
well, I guess, yeah, in some ways it is.
It was actually kind of progressive. Not really, but I mean,
sure.
just like, we can't even acknowledge that fictional people in a pretend play drink. I mean, so.
Interesting. I didn't know that about you.
I think I act because it makes I get to hang out with cool people who are fun. I think it's that simple. I might have given you a different answer many years ago, but that's why I do it.
I think that's a good answer.
To be clear, not all the people are cool.
Well,
I mean, there
present
are
company excluded, I'm
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Got it.
There are some people, the eye rolling, Have you ever been the weak link in a show?
No, I don't think that I've ever been the weakest link. I've definitely been in shows where there are better people than me. Obviously, most of them. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been the weakest link. That's the part you don't want.
No, I'm not. I don't want to be the weakest link. I've been the weakest link in many musicals. I mean, you're serving a purpose in the sense that almost everybody needs a pariah. Every group needs somebody that they shun when it comes to eating and socializing.
You need a scapegoat.
In most musicals, I serve that purpose. Why do you think people hate theater?
I think hate's a strong word. I think more people are indifferent to theater. I think that's the hurdle that theater just doesn't overcome. It takes effort to go out, get in the car, drive and find a parking space, buy your tickets ahead of time or at the door. And if you reserve them, you have to stand in line. I mean, it's a lot of hassle to go to a show.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to fall asleep during the second act anyway. So
Even
a lot
if
of people
you're
just don't go.
Have you ever considered the possibility that you and I are the reasons theater's no longer popular?
It's entirely possible.
Tim and Phil single-handedly
We're responsible for the death of theater.
Caused a national trend that killed theater. So what's the worst theatrical thing you've ever seen? What happened?
Oh my God, the worst. Oh man, this was a crime. In some ways, it was a crime, and in other ways, it's the most glorious thing I've ever laid eyes on. I was at Southern Illinois University. Go Salukis.
Yes. Hey.
And we were host to the theater conference that year, and a show was brought in from a university in Indiana. I don't remember where.
Fancy.
It was an old show called 'Tis Pity She's a Whore.
Okay.
And this was, to them, played totally straight. This was a melodramatic, kind of high body count kind of show like Hamlet, where most of the cast is dead at the end of the show. It's very serious, deadly serious about this pair of lovers that turns out to be siblings, unbeknownst to them. Man, it was funny. That was the funniest show I've ever laid eyes on. It was overwrought and just wrong in so many ways that the audience was almost literally falling out of their seats laughing. It was hilariously bad. And we debated ad nauseum whether or not they were serious or not. And we had to ask one of our professors who knew, the teachers there, were they being serious? And she said, yeah, they were trying to be serious. It was stunning.
I had an experience like that. The most awkward show that I've ever seen, I'm just go ahead and name names. My friend D.A. Oldest, who's this very talented cinematographer I work with, he played Dracula over at Twin City Stage.
Oh, boy.
And I know, talking to him and talking to everyone, they were like, we're doing this seriously because, we're going to try and scare people. And this is, we're going to take it seriously. I tell you what, I have never seen an audience of 500 people howl. The minute my friend D.A. walked on stage, it is like, they talked about Count Dracula. Mm-hmm. The minute he walked on stage, he said, "Good evening." I mean, the audience lost it.
Brought down the house.
And from there on out, the entire show, every moment where he was being scary, it's like, it was hilarious. And like at the end when they killed him and like blood came out, it was like Monty Python. And the audience loved it. I think they thought it was one of the best theatrical experiences they had ever had, because it was like, what a brilliant idea to send up Dracula.
In some ways, these are the most memorable things. When something just totally bombs, like the show I was telling you about, you talked about the blood. The climax of this show is the young man murders his new wife, who is his sister, off stage. And they've just come from the wedding, so they're both dressed in all white. Well, he comes back on stage with her heart on a dagger, and he's just covered in blood. And this heart looks like the size of a cow's heart. I mean, this thing is huge.
Right.
And he looks like he's just got this huge cow heart on a stick.
He had a very large wife.
Exactly. And he walks down this long set of stairs and jabs it into the wedding banquet table, that is also all laid out in white tableware. And blood wells up out of the table and just goes cascading down this all-white tablecloth. And the set starts bleeding. It was monumental.
Well, I'll give him credit for going epic.
Oh my God, it was fantastic. The moment was bonkers. I mean, it was absolutely bonkers. You could not make this up. It was unbelievable. Also, as an added bonus, there was a live band on stage playing Rush songs.
Okay, and I'm sure they cleared the copyright.
I'm sure it's totally legit. So you've got some cover band playing those songs from 2112 over cascading blood on a wedding table. Oh, man. Oh, you couldn't get a better show than that. And it really is, hands down, no contest. That is the most memorable theater event I've ever attended.
So let's talk about acting at the barn.
Okay.
The only show I did there was The Odd Couple. Mm-hmm. You and I did The Odd Couple. I'd never done dinner theater before. That was my first dinner theater experience. Mm-hmm.
And for those of you out there that don't know, the Barn Dinner Theater is a local theater here in Greensboro. Mm-hmm. The longest running, continuously running dinner theater, I believe.
Right. I love how they put the emphasis on continuous.
Well, to be frank, there have been times where we didn't think it would continue, but man, the thing soldiers on year in and year out.
That's right.
I think this is its 52nd year of operation.
Yeah.
It's impressive. I mean, good Lord. There have been times where, we thought changing hands from owner to owner that it was going to go belly up, but it
ladies
didn't.
And gentlemen, if you want to impress your friends and neighbors, Tell them you're acting, and then when they say where, tell them that you're acting at the barn. They say,
the barn.
Excuse me? Which barn? Well, no, the barn. It's a place where you act. Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, they've done some really great shows over the years. I've had some really great experiences out there.
Mm-hmm.
Doing Don't Dress for Dinner was my first show that I did out there, but I did several.
Here's what's weird. What I don't get about the barn is when I first moved here, the barn only did naughty shows. Like it was like R-rated.
Yeah.
It was like short of porn, kind of like you're gonna see a girl
in her nightie.
You're gonna see a girl in her nightie,
bra.
and she's it's guaranteed. That was part of the deal.
Kind of, yeah. You get you get nanner pudding, and then you get to see someone half naked.
Yeah. It's like, that's the deal, and they're going to joke around, I'm going to have some liquor, and that's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever acted in a situation like that before where you can see the audience, and the audience is so on top of you. To be honest, the first performance that I did there, it threw me. Good Lord.
It is a bit of an adaptation, and, just to clarify, this is done in the round, so you have audiences on all four sides of a square stage, and they are literally right up to the edge. I mean, what do you think? They're sitting
on stage. I mean, they are not.
I mean, they're like a couple feet away from the stage, but really.
And trust me, these people are not like, oh, let me be careful not to stretch out my legs so as to not interfere with the actors. It's like, these people are pretty comfortable being on stage.
We've had people
whatever.
put their feet up on the stage.
That's right.
I've had people with feet on the stage during a show.
Oh, yeah. And, if they need to get up and use the set to lean on to get out to go to the bathroom, that's not really a problem.
Yeah, it's a unique venue. It definitely is. The thing is, though, you're very lucky having done that show, and that's the worst thing that's happened to you.
Yeah, well,
the first
I don't know
two times I did a show out there, I had people die in the audience. Literally dying in the audience. I had the first show I did there, Don't Dress for Dinner, a guy had a heart attack, and they had to stop the show and take him out the back. And ambulance.
Did he die there?
No. I exaggerate. I don't know if I have no knowledge. I know they were taken away in ambulances and went to the hospital. I don't know if they died or not. But
did the rest of the family stay?
No, but they
I mean,
did.
you know what? You paid $50 a ticket.
It's true.
You might be like,
now, you're in the South because I was standing out back behind the theater, and one of the family members came up and said, "I am so sorry that we stopped the show." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. A heart attack trumps whatever the hell I'm doing on stage. You're fine." The second show I did there was Father of the Bride, and again, a dude had a heart attack. And
I think the idea that we may have killed theater is gaining more momentum.
There's more and more evidence, at least that our performances are somewhat deadly.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I never killed anybody, to the best of my knowledge. I have bored thousands. Trust me, that I have.
We'll plead guilty to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've bored more people than you can shake a stick at. It was sometimes my fault, and other times not my fault.
Yeah, well, you're limited by what's on the page.
Right.
Or at least some actors are.
I try not to be. But, so we should come to a conclusion about theater and wrap this up.
Yeah, I think...
And by the way, Tim, weakest episode yet.
I think it is pretty weak. This is pretty weak.
The best part of our theater episode is when Tim talked about COBOL.
Yeah.
That's the best part of this episode.
An arcane computer programming language is the best thing about theater.
About our theater episode. Our episode dedicated to theater.
Oh, man.
All right, we'll just cut it out and just keep the computer.
Just keep that bit. Oh, man.
You should see if you can, assuming you know your heart's weak, at some point in your life.
I should try to die in a theater? Is that what you're saying?
At the exact moment that the guy died, you should find a dinner theater that is doing
that show.
Don't Dress for Dinner.
I'll do an encore performance of that man's heart attack.
Yes. If you could pass.
That would be a dream come true.
And that would be great publicity for the barn. Actor drops dead in same manner at same play. 50 years later. See, that would be great.
Just have to have the barn last a few more years, hopefully, and then schedule that show.
And you last a few more years?
Yeah, that's true.
Everything has to come together. The play,
There's
the
a lot of
barn.
scheduling and math involved in
Good
that.
grief. Just pay them $100 to do the show. They'll do it. They pay their actors so little, that's plenty.
That covers pretty much all the expenses.
That's right.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that would be a beautiful way of passing.
It's time to play Instant Opinion with Tim and Phil. This is where I give Tim one word, and he must form an instant opinion on it in 10 seconds or less. Are you ready, Tim?
I am ready, Phil.
All right. You are not ready because you don't have the timer.
I don't have the timer, Phil.
So we totally...
Right off the bat, we were totally lying to our audience.
That's right. Which is about par.
Par for the course.
Okay, let's start off. Number 1, Pilates.
Pilates. It sounds like an Italian dish that you would eat, not really something that you would perform. So in that case, I think it sounds delicious. Delicious bowl of Pilates. There we go. All right.
Old Cher.
Old Cher? Old Cher looks like she's wearing the skin of young Cher, stretched taut. But I still think she's amazing. Okay,
all right, now we have to move on. Okay.
Moving on.
Comas.
That's something I frequently slip into after a big meal. I'll find a flat surface. So in that case, I'm pro-coma. I'm anti-coma when it comes to a medical condition.
All right. Cran apple juice.
Cran apple juice?
Yes.
That's an apple wearing the stretched taut skin of a cranberry. It tastes disgusting. I don't like it. And time's up.
Okay. Premature ejaculation.
Premature ejaculation. It gets the job done faster, so I'm all for that. You're done quickly. The downside is, it makes a mess everywhere.
I don't know about that. All right. I don't know how you're doing it.
It depends on how you're doing it.
That's right. Okay. People that won't have sex with you.
People that won't have sex with me. That's a long list. I'm against those people. I don't want any of those people left alive because I pretty much want to have sex with everybody. There you go. It's out there. Podcast audience, I want to have sex with you.
All right.
I think our audience just dropped.
That's right. They just left. I can't read my writing, so I'm gonna go with dachshunds.
Dachshunds? Okay, the dachshunds. Okay, dachshunds. Dachshunds are great because they're extra portable because they're small. They're not so great because when you take them on airplanes, they get caught in airport security.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Okay, bushwhackers.
Bushwhackers.
Bushwhackers. Go.
Bushwhackers. That seems like a very sexual term. I feel like that goes along with the premature ejaculation. I mean, if you're whacking the bush too much, so you can get premature ejaculation.
All right. And I thought that was dachshunds. I thought bushwhackers was dachshunds. Okay.
Bushwhacking your dachshund too much.
All right.
I'm going to have to put an explicit tab on this one now.
That's right. Windows 10.
Windows 10 can bite my behind because I'm so happy with my Windows 7 computer. I do not want to upgrade. Windows off. Stop trying to upgrade my computer.
Flathead screwdrivers.
Flathead screwdrivers. Much more conservative than their Phillips cousins. Flatheads are very much about making America great again. They're very focused. Like those hippie Phillips screwdrivers with their extra blades.
All right. Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow.
Pro con.
Okay. I'm pro in the sense that you'd have to bury Manilow after he's dead. I'm anti-Barry Manilow because he's still alive.
Oh, that's horrible. Barry Manilow's a great American.
He's not.
Gel shaving cream.
Gel shaving cream. I don't like gel shaving cream because it feels like I am putting some sort of like toothpaste on my face whenever I shave with it. Then again, maybe I'm just using the wrong product.
Steven Van Buren.
Steven Van Buren. I'm going to need more than 10 seconds on this one. Steven Pro, he has the most pretentious last name of all of my friends, which is great because it makes me sound like I know someone who is actually an accomplished artist.
All right, we'll give you an extra 10.
Okay, that was Pro. Okay.
An extra 10 for Con.
Okay, Con for Steven Van Buren is that he's much smarter than I am when it comes to films, and so I usually feel like a dummy whenever we're talking about film.
And you hate him for that.
I hate him for that. God dang it.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to let him know about that.
Oh,
All
man.
right.
It's true. It's true. Having a film conversation with Steven.
The potential, you're going to have to think on this one.
I'm thinking on that. I'm not thinking about any of these, so.
The potential sex exploits of the short people during Wizard of Oz.
So the sexcapades of the Munchkins is what you're saying. Okay. Sexcapades of the Munchkins.
Sexcapades of the Munchkins. Let me say that again. The potential Munchkins having sex during the making of Wizard of Oz. Go.
Munchkins having sex during the filming of The Wizard of Oz. I am pro because, get it where you can get it. Mm-hmm. So, I am against it because that is a cherished childhood memory. I don't want to think about people having sex during it.
Lollipop Guild. That's all I have to say.
Lollipop Guild.
All right. Duke Ferdinand's bullet dodging abilities.
Duke Ferdinand's bullet dodging abilities. Okay. Well, first of all, they're really awful because he was not able to. Keanu Reeves his way out of that bullet's path. If he had been able to do that Matrix backbend thing, it would be a whole different history.
Oh, I know. That's all I got.
And that has been Instant Opinion.
With Tim.
And Phil.
Or with Phil.
And Tim.
All right, I'm chastising Tim. I'm chastising Tim because for whatever reason...
I'm compelled to rub my chair for some reason.
It's like Jiminy Christmas. It's like... Tim, I got news for you. That's exercise. You don't like, if I told you, all right, throughout this whole episode, you've got to rub
your chair.
And I got on you for rubbing the chair.
That's my new fitness program. It's called Fidget Your Way to Fitness. You just constantly fidget all day.
We'll see how it works next week when I come back.
Oh, man.
All right. Theater.
We both like it. We both do it.
We've done it. Oh, God, this was a bad episode.
Oh, man. Well, thanks for sitting all the way through it with us. We've been your hosts, Tim.
And Phil.
And goodbye.
Greetings. I am Alice, highly paid digital assistant to the two moderately entertaining nerds of the Two M.E.N podcast. Want to let us know what you thought of the show? Have a topic you'd like to hear discussed? Feel like demanding your money back? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us an email at twomencast@gmail.com. In the meantime, please consider leaving a review on iTunes or your podcast service of choice. Also, for all discussions moderately entertaining, you can join us at facebook.com/2mencast. Please join us again next time when we'll be guaranteed to be funny. Or not.